We are African, and we happen to be in America. We're not American. We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. Our forefathers weren't the pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us. We were brought here against our will. We were not brought here to be made citizens. We were not brought here to enjoy the constitutional gifts that they speak so beautifully about today. Because we weren't brought here to be made citizens today, now that we've become awakened to some degree and we begin to ask for those things which they say are supposedly for Americans, they look upon us with hostility and unfriendliness.
Oh, nah, Sheikh of the Streets, what's good, y'all? Another episode of Real Spit Television, an intersection of culture and consciousness. You know what I mean? Today, I'm solo dolo, flying in the cockpit by myself. So we're going to have a real interesting episode. First and foremost, you know what I mean? I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. First of all, RTG, Ready to Go Printing. Holla at my guys, Hodge and Mooley on Instagram at Ready to Go Printing. You know what I mean? I want to give a shout out to my brother, Jelani Tajani, F Life, Faith Family Funds. You know what I'm saying? Look at him on Instagram at Faith Family Funds or F Life Lonnie. You know what I mean? Shout out to my guy. Y'all want to go listen to him, go and check out that past episode of Real Spit Television. I want to give a shout out to my guy, my round, DJ Youngin, Heavy Grind Radio Podcast. Man, look, big shout out to you, my boy. I can't wait to get you on here. Y'all can check my guy DJ Youngin out on Instagram at DJ Youngin. Also at Heavy Grind Radio. He has a new podcast. I'll make sure y'all tune in and tap in. A lot of good indie artists, you know what I mean? If you are indie artists trying to get out there, trying to get exposure, you definitely need to holler at my guy, DJ Youngin. He got good packages. The boy do it all. DJ, make beats, do photography work, you know what I mean? Just whatever. He make sure you go up, you know what I mean? And last but not least, I want to give a shout out to my guy, Akil, over at HBN, Hustler by Nature. Again, A1 episode, the last episode that was released of Real Spit Television. I had my guy on here with me. You know what I mean? Definitely came through and dropped some real jewels just about motivation. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely go back on YouTube or on, excuse me, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Just go ahead and check it out. Listen to my guys. So that's a big shout out to IKEA, Hustle by Nature. Y'all already know I gotta give a shout out to my guys behind the G-Wall, you know what I mean? All my brothers in prison, all my political prisoners, you know what I mean? Free Imam Jamil Al-Amin, that's right, we getting that campaign going, we gonna scream it every time we get a chance. And to all my brothers and sisters behind that G-Wall, breathe, inhale, exhale, breathe easy, you know what I mean? So look y'all, Sheikh of the Streets. I got that, you know, every now and again I want to go ahead and do like a solo episode so we can just really speak on some topics without having, you know, try to ask questions. So y'all already know, first and foremost, I want to speak on some motivation. My partner DJ Young was like, look bro, before every episode you need to get something motivational. And, you know, for a long time, I didn't think I was motivational, you know what I mean, till guys started saying, and really, I just speak from my experience, you know, no holds barred. And so, I was talking to my imam, my spiritual leader, Imam Suleiman, and he was saying how we have to pass the wisdom down to the youth. And, you know, one of the main things that you know, I just had a birthday, you know, I had a birthday to me, but, the older I get, the more I see the importance of patience. You know what I mean? The importance of just the grind without the need for immediate gratification. You know what I mean? And this is the main thing that I know is one of my main battles, you know what I mean, is instant gratification. And if I wanted to pass any wisdom along, it's the wisdom of a wise man by the name of Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad. May God be pleased with him. Said victory comes with patience. And you know, like as an adult now, like that's wisdom that's irregardless of your race, creed, color, religion, you know, whatever ism that you caught up in. Victory comes with patience is a truth, is a universal truth. And I tell the youth now that, you know, we grew up with microwaves. We grew up being able to go to fast food, go in the grocery store, and what all these things do is they enculture us with the idea that if I want it now, I can have it now. You know what I mean? If I want a hamburger, I don't have to go through the long process of raising a cow, slaughtering the cow, processing the meat. That's a long process. I can just go to Burger King, boom, ready made. And while that's convenient, I think what it does is kind of separate us from nature. You know what I mean? Because that natural man, that country dude that we laugh about, he understood that if I plant this seed today, I'm gonna have to water it and I'm gonna have to be patient. It don't matter if I'm starving to death. The tree ain't gonna produce that fruit out of season. And so it gave man that patience, that stick to itness, to know that victory comes with patience. And so now with me, I ain't even got a point at the youth. With me, I struggle with the idea of setting a course, planting a seed, watering it, be patient, with the understanding that the faith that everything come in due season. So victory comes with patience, bro. No matter what plan you got out here, no matter what scheme, a lot of us fall into the, into the hole because we trying to make it happen ASAP. We want that thing to happen right now. But the best plans, I was reading something the other day, it said the majority of millionaires didn't become millionaires until after the age of 50. And I laughed when I read it because most of us is like, shit, if I gotta wait till 50, it ain't no point. No, that's our mind. We want to ball now. But the whole universe, the whole creation is built on a process. And so with process comes time, and with times come patience. So those of us who are going to be victorious are those of us who show the most patience. So, you know what I mean? Just stick to it, man. In between the idea and the reality is a lot of hard work, a lot of letdown, you know what I mean, a lot of stress, you know what I mean, and we all gonna go through that, but victory comes with patience. So hopefully, you know what I mean, if as a culture, we can, you know what I mean, we can swallow that and digest it, and we gotta understand this, rest in peace, Nip. This is a marathon, it ain't a sprint, you know what I mean. A lot of people hop out quick, get out the gate fast, but they can't really keep that pace up. You know what I mean? With a smart one saying, look, I'm going to be patient. I'm gonna grind. I'm going to make grinding a part of my culture. And I keep saying this word culture because this is what we're going to speak on today. But that was just a little motivational, you know what I mean, little spit, because this is what I tell myself every day. Be patient. Grind. Be patient. Don't look for it right away. Be patient. And that's hard. But before we get into the main topic, I want to go over some news, some quick little points. Y'all already know when I'm solo dolo, I always got to bring y'all with some of the news. First and foremost, this to all my street dudes, because a lot of us is looking at Bitcoin as like the next thing as far as anonymity, financial anonymity, you know what I mean, being able to have money, and these folks is not being able to touch it. They can't trace it, Back in the day, we had the banks and the islands that would do it. But to the regular average street dude, that was kind of a dream and a myth. You know what I mean? If you dealing with 50 bands, you know what I mean, 60 bands, 100 bands, you're not really going to the Bahamas and putting it in the bank or the Switzerland. So Bitcoin really changed the game because it was on an everyday level. You know what I mean? And you could store money in an encrypted way that boasted that, you know what I mean, it was untraceable, it couldn't be hacked. So I don't know if y'all remember last week, a terrorist group, cyber terrorists. I always air quote it because, terrorism is an eye to behold. It's like beauty, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I think it was a famous American forefather. I think it was Thomas Jefferson. I might be wrong. He said, "One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter." So this word terrorist is an alert word. You know what I mean? So I just put the air quotes in and kind of calm that down. But a cyber terrorist group, the one Dark Horizon, who engineered the pipeline malfunction. Everybody's gas went up for a few days. Gas shortage. I know down here in Atlanta, but they were responsible for that. So when they sabotaged the pipeline, they went to the owner and gave a ransom. Ransom the pipeline. Like, look, bro, we'll come up all this pipeline and you'll be able to get this money for X amount of dollars. And dude paid it. However, the government, after he paid it, found out that they paid it in crypto. They paid it in Bitcoin to a coin wallet. And if y'all know about crypto, shout out to Brother Fahim, who came on here and gave us, the game about the crypto. But the crypto wallet, though, your wallet is supposed to be encrypted. This is the whole plus about cryptocurrency. You know what I mean? That your wallet, what you keep your assets in, is supposed to be unbreakable. However, the U.S. government got permission from, they found out the account was based out of San Francisco, and allegedly, since it was in U.S. soil, it gave them the right to go to the FBI. FBI accessed the wallet, hacked it, busted it, and got the money. Straight up, I just watched it this morning. And people don't know what to say about it. I think this would be a big hit against crypto because this is this flagship. They're saying your money is inaccessible to anybody except for you. This is what we were told. At least this is what I read and I studied. And so this is a big blow to the crypto market. Something else, we have the COVID vaccine still rolling around. You know what I mean? Everybody's getting the vaccines. And just something I ran across is that now you have to show documentations of your vaccine. You have to have a vaccine stamp to get a passport. And just more population control, man. Y'all know I'm on parole, so I understand. I know what's going on. Y'all the ones that's like, oh, you might be good because COVID. Let me check it. Look, check this out. Governments want control. They want to control the movements. They wish they can control the thoughts. So this COVID stamp for your passport is just another way to control the movement of the population. They want to say, okay, you want to exist outside of our civilization. So one of the tickets to the civilization now is that COVID passport. If you ain't got the COVID passport, you can't even much travel. So, we always have to look at this when we watch the news. It might be, they might go on 5 minutes about a dog that got stuck in the tree. But I said, blind 1 second on stuff like this. So I kind of want to bring it out, just touch on it. So watch your crypto, man. Watch, just pay attention to it. If you're a person that stores money in with crypto, you want to watch these laws because these laws are going to shape the pluses and minuses of the whole industry, crypto industry. And also, with the COVID, that's for a whole nother topic, but y'all already know, watch for the population control. I want to segue for a second. Again, I want to give a shout out, RTG. Oh, man, look, Sheikh of the Street T. Man, holla at me, man. Holla at me if y'all want to see that, man. Holla at me if y'all want to buy these Sheikh of the Street shirts. I've really been contemplating, but I haven't really made a decision on it. So go to the Instagram, Real Spit TV. That's REELSPIT TV. Check it out. Jump in my DM, man. Let me know. However, today I want to go over into something because I have, trust me, I have at least 20 topics for shows, like, just written down. So I kind of try to work them in with different guests. But some of the topics are so important to me, I just kind of got to do a solo show. And today I want to talk about culture. Culture is so important because it's like a car. Meaning, it's like the fuel for a car. For instance, you can have a Maserati, you can have a Benz, you can have a Tesla. You know what I mean? If you don't have fuel, whether it be electricity or fossil fuel, if you don't have the fuel for that car, it's not gonna do nothing. You know what I mean? And culture is the fuel for any civilization, for any people. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna just start off with a working definition of culture, so we all kind of know what we're dealing with. Culture is defined as the customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a people, of a nation, of just any body or group that says we are a body. We are a body. This is us. So culture are these things: the customs, the arts, the social institutions, and achievements of any said group of people. So historically, you know what I mean, culture has been confined to one person or one location. So culture could be food, it could be music, you know what I mean? It could be marriage customs, it could be the way you raise your children. But historically, all these things were particular to only certain groups or certain regions. For instance, I'm basically just saying historically everybody had their own swag. You know what I mean? You go to France, French people ate this kind of food. They lived like this. It was particular to them. But then when you went to, let's say, I hate to say these African nations' names because they all, they were made up. But let's say in Ghana and Accra, they had a way of doing things. They did the same things as the people in France, just in a different way. This is their sauce. This is what culture was. They ate different foods. They had different marriage customs. They raised their children in different ways. So culture is the way that any group of people express themselves. Again, China, they did their own thing, Chinese food. So historically, all these things were separated. But the industrial / European revolution, we know that, beginning in the late 1400s, definitely in the early 1500s, Europe started to explore the world. And simultaneously with that exploration came technology, came the Industrial Revolution. Humans began the technology and the ability to mass produce things. This came along with the international scene. This was like one of the biggest revolutions in human history, because all of a sudden culture wasn't limited to one place and one people, because people were traveling internationally in huge groups. So now you had, like we have today, I'm an African living in America who can go eat Italian food or Mexican food at any time. So you had, starting in the late 1400s, early 1500s, you had internationalism. And what internationalism did, it opened the door for cross-pollination of cultures, because people were finally starting to get out of their isolated zones and travel. Because the European people were politically and militarily dominant in the beginning, and still are, their culture became a rubber stamp for this international culture. This is why today I crack a lot of jokes, but the shit funny to me how you can have a Chinese businessman, an African businessman, a European businessman, let's say, and a Latino businessman, and they meet and they all wearing suits and speaking English. European culture has become the de facto international culture. You see, before 1400, wasn't nobody wearing, other than Europeans, wearing European clothes. You know what I mean? This was their cultural dress. After, this revolution, these European clothes, these European customs, these European hairdos, music, things like that, it became the de facto international culture. This is why now you can have a Chinese man that can tell you about Mozart. There's no knock on Mozart. I'm just saying that before this time, we wouldn't, if you wasn't not even European, but just in that region of Europe, you wouldn't have heard about Mozart. So we're talking about this international culture, this internationalism that began to take place. And so what happened was the world began to shrink. And I witnessed this getting out of prison. Now, and this is what I tell the young folks now, bro, y'all living in a special time. I just tell my little dudes that rap. I said, man, back in the day, you gonna have to sign to somebody, or you gonna have to put out million mixtapes. And really, before you even got regional exposure, you needed a record label, definitely national. Now, I can sit in the closet in my apartment, record a song, upload it to YouTube or SoundCloud or whatever, any one of these apps, and instantly it's international. I have the potential to reach the world at my fingertips. And this is the eventuality of this time that I'm talking about. So with internationalism, with European domination, we started to see the world get smaller. I'm a segue because I've been talking about European culture becoming the de facto international culture and things like this. But it was one thing, huge thing, that nobody talks about. And if y'all get a chance to check out big homie, big OG historian John Henrik Clark, the best black historian bar none, in my opinion. He has a book called Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust. Check it out. Because what he started to speak on, what it opened my eyes to, was that this same internationalism, this same revolution that took place, yes, Europeans were the dominant culture, but Africans were the motor for it. Check this out. I'm going to just paint a picture. Sugar. For sugar to get made, now before the 1400s, sugar wasn't even a part of world language. It wasn't even part of world diet, refined sugar, due to history. So, Christopher Columbus, whatever you want to call him, came to the New World, got put on the sugar, tried to enslave the natives to make it, but their constitution was that they died from the work and from the exposure to the European diseases, namely smallpox. So, the Africans, okay, so in Liverpool, I'm going to give y'all the whole rundown. Most of these slave ships were made in England, Liverpool, these coastal cities. So, huge amounts of people, we talk about corporations and LLCs. These things flourished during this time. People would come together and finance the making of a boat in Liverpool. They would finance the captain and the crew so they could go to Africa, kidnap the Africans, buy the slaves, take them to America, sell the slaves. With the money they got from selling the slaves, they would buy sugar and bring it back to Europe because it was sugar and tobacco. Because Europe was fiending for tobacco and sugar. Now we know these are some of the most addictive drugs known to man. Again, do the research. Sugar, tobacco. So again, this was the beginning of this internationalism. This idea of food from exotic places. This idea of let's start a business and go to China. Let's start a business. Hey man, I got a guy that got a plantation down in Brazil, man. He got 12 kilos of sugar, man. Let's go down there and get it and bring it back and chop it up. This is how they were talking. This is how the international economy was fueled. Before this, most people that were business owners were limited to their section. But who fueled this? What was the mechanism that fueled this internationalism? It was the slave. And so, right along from the very beginning with this internationalism was black people. And so this culture, these Africans that were brought to America and put around these white folks and put around these Native Americans and started to form a new culture, this African American culture, believe me, is intertwined with the international culture of today. You feel what I'm saying? It's like an encrypted code that's written into another code. So now, wherever this international white dominant culture goes, this African American culture is seeping in with it. And this is the importance of black culture, because wherever y'all go, we go. And our culture, because it has the mixture of the European, of the African, of the Native American, it appeals to everyone. And so now what the European has had to do with guns and economics and religion, the African American is doing with hip hop music and fashion. We definitely finna touch back into it very soon. We're about to go on break. Got some more notes to write down. I'm gonna play my little partner FCMJ Beezy. Check him out. New guy, Mobile, Alabama, stand up. You know what I mean? And with our culture, we're gonna speak on it when we come back. But guess what? We're gonna do this how we're gonna do this. What Lil Wayne say? Wayne said, ain't wearing no suits because we ain't trying to be presidents. We do what we do. We ain't trying to be nobody else. So check this out. We'll check y'all out in a minute. You got Sheikh of the Streets, Real Spit Television, intersection of culture and consciousness. Oh, man.
Ain't nobody help me. I did this shit by myself. Want nobody thugging with me. I spin by myself. By my lonely. I ain't never had help. Family turn it back on me. I get this shit by myself. Jermaine died. I still cried you with the pain by myself. By my lonely. I ain't tripping. Drugs the only thing help. By my lonely. By my lonely. They weren't with me. Same nigga I used to feed. Turn and beat me. No, try to snake me. But I ain't tripping, my nigga. They come watch a nigga ball from the sideline, nigga. And I'm still screaming, fuck em. I don't owe a nigga shit. I got this shit all the muscle. And I'm forever chasing means. I got my mind on them bonus. Got my mind on some cash. This nigga been in it bad. Why me running them fast? And it's the fucking nigga, killing nigga. They don't wanna see it, nigga. Forever chasing money. That the team forever with my nigga. It's up now, it's stuck now. I'm a long touchdown. She black on buzz a pat down. This work, I'm bringing them glocks out. Them glocks out, get popped now. Now they screaming stop now, but we don't give a fuck now. All I do about 10 toes down, can't look back, I'm on my own now. I gotta go strong, and I ain't tripping up about shit. I got this shit all alone. Ain't nobody help me. I did this shit by myself. Want nobody thugging with me. I spin by myself. By my lonely, I ain't never had help. Family turn it back on me. I get this shit by myself. Jermaine died, I still cried you with the pain by myself. By my lonely, I ain't tripping. Drugs the only thing help. By my lonely, by my lonely, gotta keep my Glock. These niggas dissing in the street, run on, he get popped. He won't smoke, we got gas, tell him pull up, come shop. I ain't high pussy nigga, you know I be on the block. Gotta keep it with me, never slipping when I'm in the city. These niggas capping like they body, he ain't really with it. Lil' LC, I'm by my shit, you know I'm on my pivot. Spin the block, he caught, nigga, we gon' leave him missing. Gotta run it bread up and take care of the fam. These niggas know I'm about it, yeah, they know who I am. Got that bread on me when I walking up in the street. These niggas capping like they bout it, I'ma up my heat. Ain't nobody help me, I did this shit by myself. Want nobody thugging with me, I spin by myself. By my lonely, I ain't never had help. Family turn it back on me, I get this shit by myself. Jermaine died, I still cried you with the pain by myself. By my lonely, I ain't tripping, drugs the only thing help. By my lonely,
intersection of culture and consciousness. Y'all just checked out my little guy out of Mobile, Alabama, FCMJ Beezy. A lot of people that don't know me, they might hear just a snippet of what I talk about, and then they might hear me playing my little bruh. They be like, well, you talk about culture, then you play that, because this is our culture. Basically, this is our culture. We're going to start from this premise. that culture is a representation of a people. We're not going to moralize it though. We just going to say that however a culture is, that is a representation of the mind of the people. The culture, the actions, the values of that people. I say that, and I'm just quote this. It says, culture plays an essential role in the life of a person in society. It acts as a means of accumulation, storage, and transmissions of human experience. It is the culture that shapes people into who they are as they gain knowledge, learn the language, symbols, values, norms, customs, and tradition. Culture is the glue that holds all these achievements. To prove this, when the African was brought here, it was the culture that was attacked first. Once you destroy a people's culture, you destroy this. Our culture is their remembrance. You have thousands of years of knowledge that is summed up in one cultural practice. So we always judge. We always judge our culture. And again, if this is a manifestation, again, if everything I do is devalued, the way I talk, the way I walk, the way I wear my hair, the way I wear my clothes, if everything that I do is devalued, how am I going to find value in myself? Now, I didn't come up with these things to be offensive. I didn't sag my pants to be offensive. I didn't wear my hair like this to be offensive. This is my natural expression. But if it is devalued and said that it is of no value in the human storage, we talking about this culture, this accumulation that has no, then what value do I have? Other than the value that I gain from trying to have someone else's culture. You know, I love history. Everybody that knows me. I'm a history fanatic because history makes you zoom out of the present and really look at things from a different lens. And so when we look at American culture, because America love to look at us, black people, and be like, oh man, y'all crazy. Y'all culture is crazy. But let's look at history. We know that most European cultures, American culture historically is a mixture of two things, Roman and Viking, German. Well, we know the Vikings, in Viking culture, you couldn't even go to heaven, Valhalla, if you didn't die in battle. Now, these were their religious beliefs, which is a part of a culture. So I'm going to ask you, what kind of values does that promote? That the only way you can go to heaven is if you die in battle. See, we see the accumulated knowledge that was stored in that belief. And we see its eventuality today. But this was their culture. This is why they, once they broke out of Europe, they went all over the world. What did the conquistadors, what were the 3 G's that we teach at gold, God, and glory? This is just an extension of our holler. And so when we look at culture, our culture is going to galvanize a people. It's going to shape a people's mind and shape a people's place in the world. So Europeans' civilization has historically been violent and has had violent cultures. Most Roman successes were battlefield successes. The academic successes they borrowed from the Egyptians and the Greeks, who also got it from the Egyptians. That's a whole other story. So when you have a warlike culture, it's gonna create warlike people, because these are the values that the people of that culture hold dear. So my point when I say this is, we have to own our culture as black people. See, when I listen to rap as an older man now, and I'm talking about the Chicago drill and, all that, when, niggas is talking about, I shoot your face off and all this. I think about, yeah, I'm like, dang, what kind of, how is it making our youth? I know how, because I'm a product of just take 20 years back. But then I zoom out with history and ask myself, what kind of songs do I think the Vikings were singing? What kind of songs do you think the Romans were singing? Huh? You think they were singing peace and love songs? Nah, definitely not. Definitely not. But everything we do is devalued. And I want to get back to that point because I think it's really important. Nobody, or not, it's not politically correct. Let's do it like that. Let's say that. To laugh at the African that has scarification. To laugh at the Pacific Islander who's filed his teeth down. You know what I mean? To laugh at the African with his traditional dress. But for some reason, the world has not evolved enough to accept the black man with his sagging pants and his dreads and his gold teeth. See, just as I said that, people listening cringed. This is how devalued our culture is that just the idea of us expressing ourselves the way we want to make us kind of cringe. Because I can tell you that Birkenstocks and khakis don't denote the intelligence of a person. It just denotes their culture. You can be a scumbag wearing a suit. And you can be as you say pie, you can be scary with gold teeth and dreads. That's just your culture. But somehow our culture has been devalued to a point where it's understood. Our parents teach us you are going to have to let your culture go to be successful in this world. Or at least dumb it down a little bit. To be successful in this world. And this is what I'm fighting against. You know what I mean? Is the idea that our culture is somehow evil, needs to be changed, needs to be replaced. Well, if anything, I'm looking at American culture. Because what kind of people is it producing? So we have to own our culture. And yes, we sell out. I ain't leaving shit out. I ain't not speaking on it. We sell out for the bag. Let me show you something. You can go to almost any country in this world that has internet or TV, and they gonna have a rapper. They not only gonna know about rap music, but they gonna have a rapper of their ethnicity speaking in their language rapping. This is the power of our culture. You got Chinese parents mad because they sons wearing their hats to the back and want to wear Jordans. Who you think made that culture? It was us. It was young black men and women, children in the ghetto that didn't have nothing else to do, so we took our parents' turntable and records and made a whole genre of music that is the highest grossing genre in the world today. Now think about that. Because they always tell you you're dumb and you're stupid. But people that look just like you, come from the ghetto. We know ghetto life, hungry all day. You know what I mean? Church lunches. Government cheese. Yeah. People just like that created a genre of music and helped create a culture that is now everywhere in the world. I was just watching on Bloomberg. I forget the name of the corporation, record label in China. Dude just deal with Chinese rappers. They grossed like $500 million of that shit during the pandemic. But they'll still laugh at you though. See, this is what I'm trying to show you. Don't allow people to vampire your culture and then throw your husk out when they're done. Still look at you like you stupid, but yeah, you making billions off our culture. Own your culture, black people, and understand that our voice, as crazy as it seems, is the voice of America now. When people think about America, they think about rap music, hip-hop culture. This is the importance of it. So when I travel overseas, I understand that their perception of me is the perception that rap music gave them. You know what I'm saying? We had to be conscious about that too. Because when people who have listened to rap music have never met a black person before, these people might be from Philippines or something. Even though they black too, that's part of another story. But they never met a black person, but they heard 50. they heard Chief Keef. So when they finally encounter me, how you think they're gonna react to me? This is why America and the record companies don't mind pumping out the bullshit. Cause it does two things for them. For one, it makes them a shitload of money, and for two, it keeps us painted as the bad guy to the whole world. So you gotta understand that Black Lives Matter, when we on the street protesting, in people's mind, it's saying, shit, when I hear rap, you talking about killing 1 million niggas. Like, I'd be scared of you too. So we help create some of the hurdles that we had to jump. But through all of that, understand your power. An old school dude in prison told me, he said, man, it don't matter if you powerful if you don't know that you powerful. You know what I mean? And that really stuck with me because that's us as black people. As black people, yeah, we are powerful. I mean, truth be told, we know our spending power. Now we talking about our cultural power. But if we don't know and accept our power, then what's the point? We are a battery for someone else. Just the same way as we were the engine for the Industrial Revolution, we will continue to be the engine for the American civilization without getting any of the perks that comes with building a civilization. Culture helps to develop a variety of skills. Culture involvement and creative potential were essential to the universal man of the Renaissance.